Hello again, everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of my Age of Wonders 3 co-op series with Bob of Black Arrow Gaming. I've linked to his channel in the description. Be sure to go and check that out. In this episode, I have 5 battles to show you. I did record the whole episode, so I was able to actually pick out the battles I want to show you. Not all the battles are super big or super important, but I picked ones that give me a chance to talk about the overall game and overall strategy, so I don't have to spend as much time doing that at the very end. Alright, this first battle happened about midway through Bob's introduction. I ran my units out and meant to wait until he was done talking, but accidentally clicked manual combat, so here we go. Teal flew these 2 Shrines of Smiting in close to my city at the very end of his turn. When we reloaded and he got extra movement, he moved these things up. But that was great for me. It gave me a chance to take them out easily. I'm going to try to use this battle to get some experience for some of my under-promoted units. Since the city is the key to my defense at the moment, I need my units in it as strong as possible. And since the second shrine just wants to ram, I really don't take very much damage from either of them in this battle. Get that guy a promotion. My priest is close to a promotion. I think if I kill the shrine, I will be like 1 battle away from getting a promotion to this guy. So that's what I do. Pretty easy battle, not hugely important, but I did want to show it. This next battle is also not a real important battle, but it gives me a chance to talk about my underground army. I had planned on attacking a city underground with this army. I had 2 wyverns in a separate stack, but the wyverns were not right next to this army. They were a tile away, and I forgot about that, and at the very beginning of the session, a Teal flew a Shrine of Smiting out and killed my 2 wyverns, and this group of 5 units was not quite strong enough to go take the city by itself, so I just ignored it and kept running north. I eventually want to go take my the city I built intending to build cavalry. I want to recapture that with this army. But that's going to be a few turns before I can get up there. Once I get that city, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this army. I might continue to leave it underground and just pick stuff off. Or I might send it underground, link it up with some of my other armies, and build a stronger defense with it. This third battle is to recapture what used to be White, the Archdruid's throne city. Brown went and rebuilt it. He rebuilt it as Tigrans. I have been seeing a lot of Tigran units, so it's possible he's been using it quite a bit. Even if I can't hold it, which I don't, I do decide to just plunder it. I at least want it out of Brown's hands. This is just the first step in this army marching straight towards Brown's throne. I'm going to try to raise everything I find, raise or plunder everything I find. Hopefully I will catch Brown's leader and be able to take them out when I capture their throne. But if not, I'll probably just keep marching this army around, plundering every city I find. I do have a pretty overwhelming army here. 3 of Brown's 5 units are melee. And he does turn his mystics into panthers, so all 5 of them become melee before the end of the battle. It's going to force them to run outside of the walls and make them easy for me to pick them all off. As I was saying, I'm going to try to plunder all of Brown's cities. At some point eventually, I want to rebuild them, but I will use my own settlers to do that. I don't just want to capture them now. Mostly because Brown would be able to go in and just recapture them immediately with all his Manticore riders he has flying around. But there is another reason for that. It's related to Blight Empire, which I will talk about more towards the end of this video. You see my sorcerer is still not moving much. He has the torso item that gives him slowed. After this battle, I drop that item and have my number 2 Theocrat hero pick that item up and use it. I do want my sorcerer to be more mobile than he is right now. Since he has the inflict stun ability, since he has a flying mount, I really want him to be able to fly around inflicting stuns, getting flank attacks, etc. Gonna go beat on the gate with the shock trooper just to try to draw them out. I have 2 leaders that have conversion, so I do want to try to convert one of those phalanxes. By getting them to come attack my shock trooper at the gate, it will get the phalanxes guard down, make them a little bit easier to try to convert. Here he comes, and he does a huge amount of damage because he got a critical hit. He actually knocked half of my shock trooper's health down. And I only have a 40% chance of converting. Which of course he resists both times. That kind of worried me a little bit. I did take away a lot of his movement with those failed conversions, but I still want to take him out before he can kill my shock trooper with another critical hit. Fortunately, with most of his movement gone, I'm able to just beat away at him. Over here I've got a panther that used to be a mystic and 2 phalanxes going after my more vulnerable units. Do need to get over there and protect them. A useless spearman here. Spearman's definitely the weak link in these armies. There's one thing I can do with the spearman, and I'm actually going to do it, I think, on the next turn. It makes him at least somewhat usable, somewhat useful for this army. Just going to try to move my troops in a position to protect my sorcerer. He will resurge if he dies, but I would prefer that he kept as much of his health as possible. Alright, now here's what I'm going to do with my spearman. I'm going to use sprint to be able to run him around, turn the phalanx around, which lets me eventually get a flank attack in on him. First I'm going to come flank this other phalanx with my shock trooper. And now I can get a flank hit, stun him, kill him. was a pretty easy battle, considering the size of the city I got. Since there aren't a whole lot of buildings in that city, even though it is a metropolis, I'm not going to get a lot of gold for plundering it. I think it's like 500 gold that I get. It's still worth doing because I would not be able to hold the city. But I think the cities that are more inside Brown's land that I will get in the future should give me a lot more gold for plundering. I should be able to get close to 1,000, maybe even more than 1,000 gold for each city. This next battle is a bad one. I don't know if Brown got desperate because I'm taking their cities, or if they finally got a large enough force to come and attack me, but they surrounded me and attacked me with a lot of very strong units. I think I've got a decent chance in this battle if I play it right. But if I don't get lucky, I'm not going to have much of a chance. I do want to try to get my Exalteds out over the wall to try to distract the enemy. Unfortunately, both of my Exalteds started in the middle of the wall, so I have a hard time getting them out into the corners. Ultimately, neither one of them does anything for me this battle. They're just kind of there. I want to get my shock troopers behind my vulnerable support units, just so when those Manticore Riders fly around and flank attack me, I will be able to hit them back with shock troopers right away. I have a couple of pretty good spells I can use. I'm not going to use either on the first turn because I'm afraid of it getting disjuncted. But I am going to cast Holy War, which will give all my devout units plus 10 spirit damage on melee attacks. I don't have a lot of strong melee units, but it will at least let my priests do a lot more damage in retaliation when they do get hit by these Manticore Riders. Another option I could have gone with was Mass Bless, which would have blessed all my units. If I had more casting points, I would have loved to cast Holy War and Mass Blessed, but I just can't do them both when my leader's not on the same battlefield. It actually doesn't say in the spell description that it's only melee attacks that get the plus 10 spirit bonus. It makes sense that ranged attacks don't get the spirit bonus because that would be way overpowered, but it'd be nice if the description made that a little more clear. Still trying to get that Exalted over the wall into the corner. At this point it's too late. The enemy's going to be behind my wall attacking my units. And they're sending all their units over towards one side of the battlefield, so these troops I have over here are basically a waste. I probably should have picked one side to make my defense on, rather than splitting them off. That is usually what I do. The only reason I didn't do it here was because I thought my Exalteds would be able to be more of a distraction than they were. And of course the dragon uses gas breath, which means I don't even get to retaliate with my Holy War. He also gets a critical hit and does a ton of damage with it. The Relentless Army that Brown cast here is a pain, but it's not a huge deal. Because his units are so strong, I'm not really trying to take away their movement points. I'm just trying to kill 1 or 2 each turn of the battle. It does hurt right here, because that Manticore Rider with, I think he has 1 hit point left, has all his movement. He'd be able to destroy my stunned shock trooper. Without Relentless Army, he would have no movement. He'd just be stuck there. But most of the time, I'm not trying to take away movement points. I'm just trying to kill them, no matter what it takes. Maybe in a bigger open field type battle where I have a lot more tier 3 units than I do here, maybe in that case Relentless Army would be bad for me. But really in a city defense, I've never found Tireless to be that big a pain to me when I'm defending a city. The Griffin Rider's sitting in a spot where my shock trooper can't get to it. Should have moved my priest further away, let my shock trooper get up in there and hit it before the priest came back and hit it. Trying to figure out a spell that could get that Griffin Rider out of the way. I really don't have one. Gonna have to use a spell on the Manticore Rider that has 1 hit point left. Guess he has more than 1 hit point because I do have to cast Smite rather than casting Black Lightning, because Black Lightning would not have done enough damage to it. Got kind of unlucky there. I think my odds of killing that Griffin Rider were about 50-50. And I guess here's where Tireless is really annoying, because even though it didn't kill the Griffin Rider, that attack should have taken all his movement down. Then my priest would be able to just take him out. Just trying to decide what to do, since the Griffin Rider, I think all black or all Brown's units have first strike because of the spell he's cast. It's a good chance he might, well, he wouldn't kill me, but he'd do a lot of damage to me, and then one of his other units would come kill my priest. If I move away, I'm not sure how much damage he would do. The game doesn't tell you that. But I suspect there'd be a chance I would die by moving away. I really want to get my shock trooper up there to hit the Griffin Rider and kill it. I just have nothing I can move out of the way to get the shock trooper up in there. What I'm eventually going to do is just heal the Evangelist to make sure he doesn't die. Now there you can see Black Lightning wouldn't do enough damage. I've got to cast a Smite. Costs extra casting points. Fortunately. But I do at least take out one extra Manticore Rider. For some reason he didn't take out my stunned Shock Trooper. I guess he decided he'd rather go take out the Evangelist. Gets the Evangelist and gets the Priest, so all my efforts to save those two units were in vain. And at this point, I'm pretty much just trying to figure out how to take out as many brown units as I can. My army is too spread out to mount any sort of defense. That Griffin Rider I'm just going to ignore because it is severely poisoned, only has one hit point left. It's going to die anyway. I was hoping I'd be able to daze this Lord of the Deep with my Exalted and then be able to take him out pretty easily. But that doesn't happen. He ends up surviving. My Warbreed gets stunned right away. I had a lot of bad luck getting stunned by these Manticore Riders this battle. And once again, stunned right away. I'm not going to hit anything with this Evangelist, I don't... Oh, yeah, I do. I thought I tried to convert something with him. Maybe he survives this turn and is able to try to convert something next turn. Again, going to run my Priest up, get a flank attack hit that lets him use his Holy War Spirit bonus without getting retaliated against. Probably should have focused more of my attack on that hero. That is one downside of letting the Griffin Rider get poisoned to death on its own. I wasn't able to get anything in there and hit the hero. Probably could have taken the Griffin Rider out. Would have wasted attack, but it would have opened that space up. Then I could have stuck my Shock Trooper in there and tried to kill his hero. That might have been a little better option. And got a little bit lucky there. Without inflicting Noxious Vulnerability, I think my odds of killing that Manticore Rider were around 20%. I didn't pay that close attention to what the percentage chances were. I just knew they weren't all that high. I would like to kill that Bone Dragon, I just don't really have the ability to do it. Since he does have first strike, he might kill my Shock Trooper if I attack him. I probably should have just gone for it. At least do as much damage to it as possible. It won't heal since it is an undead unit. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time. Don't remember what I do with this Priest. Guess I leave him on defense. Take advantage of the Holy War. Which of course gets disjuncted at the beginning of the next round, so is completely useless. Griffin Rider died, Holy War is disjuncted, and he kills my Priest easily. Gets a huge critical hit with a musket shot. Oh. I was starting to realize I wasn't going to win this battle. Once Holy War got disjuncted, then I knew I had no chance. Now I'm in take out whatever I can mode. Okay, here's where I try to convert. I move him up so he's next to the Manticore Rider. Since the Manticore Rider's panicked, he's going to try to run away. That'll cause him to get hit by my Evangelist and die. Exalted has no movement, did not daze either of those guys down there. It's sad. Again, even without the spirit bonus, I still probably should have just whacked away at the Bone Dragon, do as much damage as possible since it doesn't heal. In fact, I don't think I kill anything else the rest of this battle. Damaging the rest of Brown's units would be pointless since they will heal pretty quickly. It would just give them experience. Getting hit. So I really should have just gone after the Bone Dragon and then surrendered. Obviously I didn't know it at the time that I wasn't going to kill anything else, but in hindsight... Also in hindsight, I should have just used Warcry and ran up and hit that Bone Dragon as hard as I could, instead of trying to get cute with that guy. Alright, let's think. My priest would do 12 damage to the Bone Dragon. That would have knocked it down to 78. If I was able to get 2 hits in with both of my shock troopers, which was possible, they would have each done roughly 40 damage. 40 by both of them would have killed a unit that has 78 damage. I might have been able to kill the Bone Dragon if I'd just gone hard after it. That's too bad. Whenever I get in a bad situation in a battle like this is when I really stop and think about what I'm doing. If I thought this much at the beginning of battles, I probably wouldn't lose units as much. That's just kind of what works for me. Yeah, my priest is going to do more than 12 damage to that thing by moving it up a space. But instead I'm going to heal. It's too bad. Probably could have killed the dragon. Did kill that Manticore Rider at least. Really wanted to take out that phalanx. I could do a lot of damage with my priest, but I don't think my shock trooper can get close enough to hit it more than once and finish it off. Over here, I think I'm finally going to hit the bone dragon. Not do enough, though. See, I could do 16 to 24 damage. My priest would, well, I didn't see how much that was. It was like 30, 35 damage with my priest. If I could hit the phalanx twice, I might be able to finish it off, but with just one hit, it's not going to happen. In fact, since he has first strike, he's going to hit me twice and probably kill me. No, he did not kill me. Oh yeah, I panicked him, and he runs away and doesn't die when he's panicked. Actually, I think he does die. I think the Blood Pavilion gets him. So this battle went a little bit better than I remembered. I still wish I'd taken out that Bone Dragon, but it's not a game-breaking mistake. Losing the city, though, does completely change my strategy. I will talk about that a lot more at the end of the episode. But now that I can't hold the line here, there's really nothing stopping Brown or Teal from flooding into my northern cities. My two northern cities, once it gets those, they can flood into my underground cities. It's just a big mess overall. Just going to surrender rather than give Brown any extra experience for killing that priest. There you can look at the battle recap. I did take out only 6 units. I think 3 or 4 of them were tier 4 units, and the rest were tier 3. No, one was just a cheetah. Okay, so I think I killed... What did I kill? I don't remember what I killed. I killed some good units, but lost even more good units. That's the main summary there. But I'll talk more about that at the end of the episode. There is one last battle we need to look at. This is my main army attacking a Brown Straggler army. Not a hugely consequential battle, but some nice things happen. For one, get to look at my Shrines of Smiting in an open field battle for the first time. See how much damage they're really doing here. And for 2, all 3 of those enemy units are vulnerable to conversion. So I'm going to take a couple shots at them. The Shrines of Smiting do get healed. They get healed 2 points for every, 2 points on every turn on the strategic map for every devout unit you have in the army. That means I need to mix my armies up a little bit better. Need to make sure I only have 1 shrine per army to help them get the maximum amount of healing. It looks like I have maybe 7 or 8 devout units here. So I can probably put a shrine plus 3 or 4 devout units in each army to get them the maximum amount of healing. But even though they do heal, they don't heal a lot. It's only those 2 points for every devout unit, so I do want to try to keep them from taking a lot of damage. There, I stunned that hero. I think that's a brand new hero, so he doesn't have many resistances yet. And I am able to convert it, which is nice because I really wanted a warlord hero. I had one offered to me, but I wasn't able to afford it. Now I'm able to get one the hard way. And this guy, even though it's only a 45% chance, I am able to get him as well. So I convert the type of hero I wanted, and I converted a tier 3 unit. The army now has, I think, 13 units in it. I'm going to switch the spearmen out for the Warbreed, and then just let the hero fill in the other army. So I will have 2 full stacks of units that are all either heroes, tier 3 or tier 4 units, and then just have a spearman running along. Okay, that's the last battle I'm going to show. Now I want to talk a little bit on the map here. Alright, let's take a look at the map for right now. Keep in mind, again, the AI has moved some of Bob's units when I loaded this game, so not everything's in exactly the same position as it is in our game. First, here's Engranost, which we recaptured at the end. You can see that on Bob's channel. I did not include it on my video. Excuse me, because my units didn't do a whole lot there. I did lose one of my Exalteds in that battle. That was kind of unfortunate. But I'm now pushing north to recapture Anthoria. Bob's sending a few units to help. Hopefully we'll be able to capture and hold Anthoria, but if nothing else, it'll force Teal to move some of his army here down to go recapture it, rather than pushing immediately into my land. Teal has split their army up a little bit, but they do still have about 15, 16 units around here. A lot of them are pretty good ones too. Excuse me, jeez. Here's Nipuk, the city that I lost in that big battle. Now that it's gone, I really have nothing to keep Brown's or even Teal's units from coming straight up in here into my land. I only have 3 priests defending this city, nothing defending my throne. I have a decent army here, but it's not going to keep the enemy out. It's not nearly strong enough. So what I'm going to do is actually move my throne city. I think I'm going to move it to Engranost. I would like to have moved it down to one of these, but this city is going to be Draconian, and this Orc city is going to take 5 turns before I get control of it, and I do need to move my throne right away. So at the beginning of the next session, I am going to immediately come to Engranost and start installing my throne here. Should get that in. It'll take 3 turns, but since I'm at the end of a turn, it'll just be a couple turns to get that. And then, since I still have 2 turns away from Sanctified Sites, I'm just going to cancel that and start casting Scorched Earth. And just put Scorched Earth on Orsal and Haluk, so that if the enemy does come in and take them, the cities get razed and they're not able to get any benefit from having those cities. It's very sad, but I don't see any way that Bob and I could quickly get up here and recapture those cities once Brown and Teal take them. I'm probably gonna pull my units back to my throne to defend it until my throne gets moved. That's mostly because I don't want the pretty big morale penalty from having your throne get captured. So I do want to fight to defend this as long as possible. And then once I do have to pull out, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do, but it will I'll probably just kind of come down this direction and try to link my armies up over the water with the armies that are defending Anthoria and Engranost. Something I didn't really realize is once they do capture this, Manticore Riders and Shrines of Smiting will be able to go straight over here into Bob's land. That could cause some problems. It's something we're going to have to think and plan about a little bit. But that's still several turns in the future. We can deal with it when it happens. Coming down here, here's my main army. You can see I have 13 units now. I'm going to take this Spearman out and put the Warbreed into that army so the Warbreed gets Resurgence. I think with these units, I should be able to come take this city easily, plunder it, and then move on to their throne. It says it'll take 3 turns to get to the throne, but since I'm going to have to stop and make sure the city gets plundered, it'll probably be 4 turns before I get there. I don't expect it to be defended heavily enough to hold me out, so I should be able to go plunder their throne within 4 turns with no problem. Then I'll move down, go after this city, go after their other cities, etc. Hopefully somewhere along the line we'll find their leader and kill her. Last I saw her, she was up in the north, though. So it might be a while before we can finish brown off, kind of like what we're dealing with orange. But hopefully once I start taking their cities, it'll really slow them down, and I'll be able to sweep through their land with no problem, like Bob is doing with orange. Hopefully that means this is basically a me and Bob versus Teal type game, and we just have to mop the other 2 up. You can see this city is going to be plundered at the beginning of next turn. It's going to get me 384 gold, plus the 292 I'm getting. I'm going to have enough gold to start building units in all my cities. Pretty much any unit I want. I can start getting these 2 cities built up, getting some of the Theocrats buildings in it. Since Bob did have to turn this into an undead city, I'm going to have to get rid of some of his stuff and put some of my own Theocrat stuff in. Underground. This army is going back to get my cavalry city back. I don't know if I can hold it, but it is a brown city, and I do want to take every brown city out that I can. I do have these priests up in this city. They can come down and help. Once I get this city, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might try to hold this land up here. That might actually be possible to do. Otherwise, I do want to bring them south, most likely. Maybe try to get this city that I couldn't get because I lost my wyverns. If not, I'll send the armies through this cave entrance. They will pop out here, and then I will be able to use them to join the defense in this area. I think overall we can mount a really strong defense around here. Bob has a ton of units. Bob's got more than 20 units. If I can get all my available armies in here, together we'll have close to 50 units right around Anthorian and Grenost. We will have to worry about them coming from the north. But by the time that starts to happen, maybe Bob will have finished orange off and he can spare some units to come up north and defend, rather than using them down here. That'll give me the freedom to keep pushing to the west with this army. So that's our overall plan. Oh, one last thing. I did cancel my Blight Empire spell. I think it's done its job. It was mainly to give me some sort of advantage over brown and orange. Since Teal is our main enemy now, most of Teal's units are either machines or goblins, neither of which are affected by Blight. So there's really no reason to keep spending the mana on Blight Empire. It is making some of my cities unhappy, because I haven't been able to get a Domain of Corruption cast on all of them. I think with these 3 cities that I'm holding right now with Blight, I think I can get Domain of Corruption cast on all 3 of them with no trouble. And then in the future, when I do send settlers out to rebuild these cities that I'm raising and plundering out here, they won't have Blight around them. I won't need to worry about getting Domain of Corruption cast. And since I am canceling my Blight strategy, I did take the Cape of Rot off of this guy and give him the Cape of the Phoenix Whisperer. He doesn't need the Resurgence, but the regeneration's nice, and actually I'm not entirely sure regeneration will work with Armageddon cast, but we'll find out. 100% fire protection is nice too. Going up against those Shrines of Smiting that do a lot of fire damage. If I can get his spirit weakness taken care of, this guy will be almost impossible to hit with the Shrines of Smiting. I think that's it, at least for what I'm doing. You can kind of watch Bob's video to figure out what he's doing with his armies down around here. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and check out the previous episodes. Go watch Bob's videos on his channel, which I've linked to. You'll be able to see everything he's doing, see his screen. He records the entire episode and posts it. You'll also be able to hear both of our commentary live as the game is happening. Thank you again, and I'll see you next.